Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and I thought 2020 might be the year that I try my hand at TBRs. If you know anything about me, I am not the biggest fan of TBRs because I'm very much a mood reader. However, I did kind of structure my reading in the last quarter of 2019, and it led to me just reading a lot more than I did at the beginning of the year. So I thought maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll just tell you about 12 books that I might read that month, and then I'll decide if I want to read any of them when the time comes. So I will just in those TBR videos tell you, first of all, what are the releases of each month that I'm excited for. Second of all, I will share my TBR chart picks with you. And thirdly, just other books that I might read. So yeah, let's get into the books that I'm planning to read. First, for the rereads, I'm going to continue rereading the Black Jewel series by Anne Bishop. The new book is going to be published in March, so I have 2 months left to finish the last 6 books that I'm still missing in my reread. So I thought maybe 3 books in January and 3 books in February. That kind of sounds good. And the books that I was planning for January is Dreams Made Flesh, although I will take this with me on my Christmas holidays, so I might still read it this month and in 2019. Then I have The Invisible Ring, although I will probably order the English version of this because I only own the German one and I finally want to read it in English. And then the 6th book, Tangled Webs, which is one of my absolute favorites in the series. Then I have 2 friends on Twitter that I'm buddy reading a book with each month, and for January we're going to read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and this is just kind of nicely coming full circle because this year we started everything in January and we started with Circe by Madeline Miller, so since 2 of us haven't read The Song of Achilles and the 3rd one is willing to reread, we thought we'd start this year with The Song of Achilles. So yeah, that's the one book that's definitely going to happen. Then as far as new releases go, there's one sequel that's coming out this month, and since this year it's one of my goals to just like get my series TBR down, I'm definitely going to keep up with all the sequels that are going to be released, and that sequel is A Heart So Fierce and Lonely by Bridget Camera, and that is of course the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and I did enjoy this book, like 3.5 stars, 4 stars, something along those lines. I probably would have preferred it as a standalone. I do not really think it needs a sequel, but I'm still willing to pick up the sequel and then decide if I'm going to DNF the series or not. Another kind of series sequel is Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gratton, which is set in the same world but is a standalone in the same world as The Queens of Inishlir, also by Tessa Gratton, and it's set a few hundred years after the stuff that happens in this book. This was a retelling of Shakespeare's King Lear, and this is going to be a retelling of Shakespeare's Henry IV, I think, and I'm definitely very excited since Queens of Inishlir was one of my favorite books of 2019. Then I had 2 other releases that I thought sounded interesting for January 2020. The first is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, which I believe is a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo, but with a female main character, which just sounds amazing, so I really want to get to that kind of sooner rather than later. The 2nd book is Dark and Deepest Red by Anne-Marie McLemore, and this sounds like a dark fairy tale retelling with a dual timeline, and it's just all about those red shoes that make you dance until you drop dead. So yeah, sounds kind of gruesome, sounds kind of amazing, and I really want to get to it as well. And now let's pick the books from my TBR chart as well as my series cauldron. First, again with my TBR chart, I'm going to pick 3 books out of this and then decide which one of the 3 I will end up reading. First one, I'm just gonna open them later once I have them all out. Second one, and then the 3rd one. That's 2. So let's see what I got. The first one is Lady of Darkness by Diana L. Paxson. Wait a second, I'll get it. Lady of Darkness by Diana L. Hexen, I read the first book ages ago, but there wasn't really that much that happened, so I think I can just jump into the second book right away, even though I do not necessarily know what the story was about anymore. I think the first one was mainly just kind of a fantasy romance book, but yeah, we'll see. It's getting darker and darker outside because I was stupid and started filming too late, because I always underestimate how soon it's getting dark already. So next we have Selected Tales by Edgar Allan Poe. Let me get it again. Here's the Selected Tales by Edgar Allan Poe. This might also work as one of the books that I have to read each month, or that I want to read each month, that aren't fantasy. And the third one is Cry Wolf by Patricia Briggs. And I'm showing you these like you can read them. You can't read them anyway. I don't think you can see it. And here I have Cry Wolf, which might be interesting. It's been ages since I read like a fantasy, urban fantasy type of story again. So yeah, those are the 3 books, and I will see which one of those I pick for January. And now let's see in which series I'm going to continue in January. I'm just going to pick one for these, and I'll just have to read it, I guess. Anita Blake by Laurel K. Hamilton, which I guess means I'll also have to reread Kiss the Dead and Hit List this month, because I think these are after Bullet, which was the last book that I read during my reread at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. So yeah, I'll continue on with the Anita Blake series this month, and maybe this year I'll finally finish it. We'll see. And the last thing, if I don't read Edgar Allan Poe this month for like a book that isn't a fantasy, I asked for A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara for my Christmas presents. We'll see if I get it, but maybe I'll pick it up, which I don't know if that's such a good idea, because I've heard like literally everyone who has read this book that they have cried and sobbed like a baby while reading it, and that they're not people who usually cry when reading, and that they can't even remember the last time they cried while reading. And I literally tear up in every single book I read. I cry so easily, so we'll see how much of a good idea that is. But anyway, that was it for this video. Tell me in the comments down below what you plan on reading in January. Are you also excited for some of the new releases that I'm excited for? Have you read some of the books that I plan on reading? And what are your thoughts on them? Do you think it's a good idea that I'm picking them up? But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please maybe think about giving me a thumbs up, and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media are in the description box down below, so go and check those out. And I hope to see you soon. Bye!